I'm not usually one for clubbing, but it had been a while since I'd seen some of my old college friends, so I agreed to go out with them for a night of dancing and catching up. Little did I know it was going to be a night I wouldn't forget anytime soon. As soon as we got to the club, I felt a little out of place. Everyone was dressed to the nines, and here I was in my jeans and a t-shirt. But my friends didn't seem to care, and we made our way to the bar to order drinks. That's when I saw him, the entitled guy who would ruin my night. He was already at the bar, yelling at the bartender about the drink he had just been served. From the moment he opened his mouth, I could tell he was trouble. He had that look in his eye that said he thought he was better than everyone else in the club. He was wearing a designer suit and had slicked back hair, and was constantly looking around the room as if he was trying to see who he could impress. I tried to ignore him and ordered my drink, but he was hard to tune out. He kept talking loudly on his phone and ordering drinks for his group of friends who were equally as entitled as he was. They were all wearing designer clothes and jewelry and seemed to be constantly looking for someone to impress. As the night went on, things started to escalate. The entitled guy and his friends were getting more and more drunk, and their behavior was becoming increasingly obnoxious. They were bumping into people on the dance floor, yelling at the DJ to play their favorite songs, and generally making a scene. My friends and I tried to move away from them, but they seemed to be everywhere we went. It was like they were following us, trying to ruin our night. Eventually, the entitled guy approached us, trying to start a conversation. The conversation went something like this. "Hey, do you guys know who I am?" he said, slurring his words. We tried to ignore him, but he persisted. "I'm a big shot around here. I could get you anything you want. Just name it," he said, leaning in close to my face. I could smell the alcohol on his breath, and it made me feel sick. I pushed him away from me and tried to walk away, but he grabbed my arm and pulled me back. "Hey, don't touch me," I said, trying to break free from his grip. That's when things got really ugly. He grabbed a bottle off the bar and raised it above his head, ready to strike me with it. I couldn't believe what was going on. I've never seen this kind of hostility before. I was terrified, but I didn't back down. I stood my ground and tried to reason with him, but it was no use. He swung the bottle at me, but I remembered my self-defense training. I quickly grabbed his arm and twisted it behind his back, causing him to fall to the ground. "You're not so tough now, are you? Stay down, you piece of shit," I said, as he lay there writhing in pain. His friends rushed to his side, but security arrived on the scene soon after. The security personnel separated us and asked for our sides of the story. I explained that the entitled guy had been harassing us all night and had become violent when I tried to walk away from him. I also told them that he had swung a bottle at me, and I had only defended myself. The entitled guy, on the other hand, claimed that I had started the altercation and had been trying to pick a fight with him. He also denied swinging the bottle at me, saying that I had overreacted. After hearing both sides of the story, the security personnel made the decision to call the police. When the police arrived, they took statements from everyone involved and reviewed security camera footage. It was clear from the footage that the entitled guy had been the aggressor, and he was arrested on charges of assault and disorderly conduct. The police escorted him out of the club in handcuffs, and his friends followed behind, looking embarrassed and ashamed. I felt a sense of satisfaction knowing that justice had been served and that the entitled guy would have to face the consequences of his actions. I never thought I'd be posting on our malicious compliance, but I had a run-in with a real jerk the other day, and I just had to share my story. It all started when I decided to go to my local community center to take part in a weekly dance class. Let me give you a bit of backstory first. I've always loved dancing, but I've never been the most graceful or coordinated person. When I was a kid, my parents couldn't afford to send me to dance lessons, so I learned from watching YouTube videos and practicing in my bedroom. Growing up, I had always struggled with my weight and my self-esteem. I was never the most popular girl in school, and I often felt like I didn't fit in. But dance had always been my escape, my way of expressing myself and feeling confident in my own skin. As I got older, I started to feel more self-conscious about my lack of formal training and stopped dancing altogether. But a few months ago, I decided to give it another shot. I found a local community center that offered dance classes for adults and decided to sign up. At first, I was really nervous, but I soon realized that everyone else in the class was there to have fun and learn something new, just like me. So there I was, in my first class, trying my best to follow along with the instructor. I was doing okay, but I definitely wasn't perfect. And then, out of nowhere, this guy comes up to me and says, "Excuse me, but you're doing it wrong. You're throwing off the entire class." I was taken aback. Who was this guy to tell me I was doing it wrong? And who made him the dance police anyway? But I decided to take the high road and just ignore him. I mean, what did he know about dancing? Well, as it turns out, he knew a lot about dancing. He was a retired professional dancer, and apparently he didn't like it when people didn't follow the steps exactly. Every week, he would make comments about my technique, and every week I would just smile and nod and continue to dance the way I wanted to. But then, one week, he took it too far. We were learning a new routine, and I was struggling to keep up. The instructor had told us to just keep moving and try to have fun, but this guy kept stopping and correcting me. "Your arms are too low," he said, "and your footwork is all wrong. You're ruining the dance for everyone else." I had had enough. "Look, I appreciate your help, but I'm here to have fun, not to be perfect. If you want to dance perfectly, go ahead, but I'm going to do it my way." He looked at me with disgust. "Fine," he said, "but don't blame me when you look like a fool." The rest of the class went fine, and I thought that would be the end of it. But as I was leaving, the guy stopped me again. "You know, if you really want to improve, I could give you some private lessons. I could teach you how to dance properly," he said. I was about to tell him where to shove his private lessons, but then I had an idea. "Actually, that's a great idea. I would love to take private lessons with you. How much would you charge?" He named a price that was way too high, but I just smiled and said, "That sounds great. When can we start?" We set a date for the following week, and I couldn't wait to see the look on his face when I showed up. The day of the lesson arrived, and I went to the community center dressed in my regular dance clothes. The guy was there waiting for me, dressed in a full tuxedo. "Wow," I said, "you really dressed up for me. I want to make sure you take this seriously," he said with a smug look on his face. We went into the dance studio, and I could feel his eyes on me as I started to warm up. I knew I wasn't the best dancer in the world, but I was confident in my ability to hold my own. "So, what do you want to work on first?" he asked, as we started to go through the steps of a basic waltz. Well, I was thinking that maybe we could work on something a little more challenging. He raised an eyebrow. "Oh, really? And what did you have in mind?" I took a deep breath and smiled. "I want to learn the tango." He laughed out loud. "The tango? Are you kidding me? You can barely do a basic waltz, and you want to learn the tango?" I just smiled and said, "I guess we'll see." For the next hour, we went through the steps of the tango, and I have to admit it was tough, but I was determined to learn it, even if it meant falling down a few times. The guy was getting more and more frustrated with me as we went along. "Your posture is all wrong, and you keep stepping on my feet." "Well, sorry about that. I guess I'm just not used to dancing with someone who's so perfect," I said with a smirk. That's when he lost it. He threw off his jacket and stormed over to me. "You know what? I've had enough of this. You're a terrible dancer, and I'm done trying to teach you. You know what I want from you, don't you?" He came at me and tried to touch me, but I was ready for him. I slapped him on the face. He flipped. "You little witch, I'm gonna F you up," and he tried to attack me. I had been taking self-defense classes for months, and I knew how to handle myself in a fight. He missed his first punch, then delivered a swift kick to his shin. He yelped in pain, then came at me again, but I was too quick for him. I dodged his second punch, then delivered a powerful punch to his gut. He doubled over, gasping for air. "Are you done?" I asked, standing over him. He nodded, and I helped him to his feet. "I'm sorry," he said, looking embarrassed. "I don't know what came over me." "It's okay. I think we both learned a valuable lesson today." In the end, I had not only proved him wrong, but I had also proven to myself that I was strong and capable. I didn't need anyone's approval or validation to pursue my passion. As I walked down the street, still feeling the adrenaline from the altercation with the guy, I couldn't help but smile. I had faced my fears and come out on top, and nothing could stop me now. And who knows, maybe someday I'll even be good enough to compete on Dancing with the Stars. But for now, I'm just happy to be doing what I love and doing it my way. From that day on, the guy never bothered me again. In fact, he avoided me like the plague, but I didn't care. I was just happy to be dancing again on my own terms. Edit. As for the tango, let's just say that I've still got a lot of work to do, but I'm determined to get it right no matter how long it takes. After all, dancing is about having fun and expressing yourself, not about being perfect. And that's a lesson that I think we all could stand to learn. As I left the dance studio that day, feeling proud of myself for standing up to the guy who had tried to control me, I couldn't help but reflect on how far I had come. Edit 2. When I first started taking dance classes, I was terrible. I had 2 left feet and I was always out of step with everyone else. But I loved it and I kept practicing, determined to get better. Over the years, I had taken classes in everything from ballet to hip-hop, and I had even competed in a few local dance competitions. But no matter how much I improved, I always felt like I wasn't good enough. That's why the guy's comments had struck a nerve with me. I knew I wasn't perfect, but I didn't need him to tell me that. I was there to have fun and learn something new, not to be ridiculed and belittled. But instead of getting angry and walking away, I decided to use his malicious compliance as motivation. I was going to show him that I was more than just a beginner dancer, that I was capable of learning the tango and anything else I set my mind to. It all started on a typical Wednesday afternoon. I had just finished my work shift and decided to hit the gym to burn off some steam. As I was changing into my workout clothes in the locker room, I overheard a woman in her late 40s with blonde hair, a fake tan, and a lot of makeup on her face. She was wearing bright pink yoga pants, a tight-fitting tank top, and expensive-looking sneakers. She carried herself with an air of entitlement, as if she was used to getting what she wanted all the time. Karen was complaining to the gym attendant. "Excuse me, I specifically asked for a private training session with the best trainer, but you gave me someone else. This is unacceptable." She had a tone that made me cringe. From the way she spoke to the gym attendant and me, it was clear that she thought she was above everyone else. She acted as if her time was more valuable than anyone else's, and she couldn't be bothered to wait her turn or follow basic gym etiquette. I couldn't help but roll my eyes at her entitled behavior. I quickly put my headphones on and started my workout. As I was lifting weights, Karen approached me. "Excuse me, do you mind giving me your spot? I want to use those weights," she said, pointing to the dumbbells I was using. I was taken aback by her request. She didn't even bother to ask politely, and she acted as if she owned the gym. Sorry, I still need to use them," I said, not willing to back down. "Well, I have been waiting for a long time, and I want to use them now. I have a busy schedule, and I can't waste time waiting," she said, her voice dripping with entitlement. "Sorry, Karen, but I'm not done yet. Maybe you can use some other equipment while you wait." Despite Karen's entitled behavior, I tried to remain calm and composed. I didn't want to stoop to her level, and I knew that getting angry or aggressive would only make the situation worse. So I tried to be polite but firm, standing my ground and not letting her walk all over me. Karen huffed and walked away, muttering something under her breath. I could hear her complaining to the gym attendant again, saying that I was hogging the equipment. As I continued my workout, Karen kept shooting me dirty looks. It was evident that she was not used to being told no. She walked up to me again, this time interrupting my exercise. "Excuse me, do you know where the AB crunch machine is? I need to use it," she said, tapping her foot impatiently. I couldn't help but let out a small laugh. "Wow, Karen, you really need to learn some gym etiquette. You can't just interrupt someone's workout like that." "And the AB crunch machine is right over there," I said, pointing in the direction of the machine with a pure look of disgust on my face. Karen huffed and walked away again. It was evident that she didn't like being corrected or challenged. As I was finishing up my workout, Karen approached me again, this time with an angry look on her face. "Excuse me, but you need to stop hogging the equipment. You've been using it for too long, and other people want to use it too," she said, her voice rising. I had had enough of her entitled behavior. "Sorry, Karen, but I'm not done yet. And I'm not hogging the equipment. You need to learn to wait your turn like everyone else. It's not my fault that you have a busy schedule," I replied, my voice firm. Karen lost it at that point. She started yelling at me, saying that I was being rude and inconsiderate. I could see that other people in the gym were starting to stare at us. I decided to walk away from the situation, put my headphones back, and kept going, but Karen followed me. She was shouting insults and threats, and I could tell that she was about to lose her temper completely. Suddenly, she lunged at me, trying to hit me. I'm a big guy, 6 foot 200 pounds. She wouldn't be able to stand a fist from me. But I didn't have to hit her. She tripped on the barbell on the floor and hit her leg badly. She stumbled and fell to the ground, screaming and crying. The receptionist came and asked me, "Do I want to call the police?" I replied, "No, call the ambulance for this evil witch. Oh, and please let her PT teach her some gym." Edit. Karen's leg got broken and she can't exercise now. I think people can train now in peace.